Hello, guys. I don't have anywhere else to talk about this. I feel like the people around me don't understand what's going on in my life. I do have friends, but they come from normal families, unlike mine. I would really appreciate it if you guys hear me out and help me with some advice. I, 20, female, live with my mom, 44, female. My dad, 45, male, and recently moved into the house after getting back with my mom. They were divorced for a long time before this. They dated other people but never settled down because they love each other. But they are also each other's Roman Empire. I'm sure you guys will understand what I mean. They had a pretty toxic marriage and relationship, probably because both of them are toxic people. I think they finally understood that and got back together. Now they are extremely happy and act like the lovey-dovey couples we see on television. They want me to be happy and excited about all this, but I can't bring myself to care. To be very honest, I really wasn't interested in their reconciliation. I know they are my parents and I should be happy that they are back together, but I simply can't do that for them. For some more background, my parents divorced 8 years ago. The divorce was messy and happened because they cheated on each other. They blamed each other too and absolutely drove each other crazy in the divorce. I had been 11 when it happened, and honestly, the fallout was horrible. I had two sets of emotionally unavailable parents who only remembered me when they needed something from me. Over the years, both my parents used to use me to one-up each other or gather intelligence on what's going on in their lives. When I was younger, I often became the scapegoat and was blamed when I got caught relaying information. I lived mostly with my mother, who only remembered when it was time for me to go to my dad's house. She would tell me to spy on him, gather information on him. One time she tried to convince me to mix some fish stock in my dad's then girlfriend's soup. The girlfriend was allergic to it, and my mom knew that. Don't ask me how she knew that. My mom can be a very creepy stalker when it comes to dad. Thankfully, I stood my ground and said no because this is dangerous and would have killed the poor woman. I was immediately grounded and had my electronics taken away because I didn't do what I wanted. My father was no different. I stayed with him on the weekends and he would be gone most of the time while I stayed at home. He had a string of girlfriends, but also tried to ruin all the relationships my mom was in. One time he tried to convince me to plant a random bra in my mom's boyfriend's car to make it look like he was cheating. I was old enough to understand that this was wrong and said no. This is just one example of what they had been up to. Anyone who hears it from my parents' perspective would think that it's a cute, albeit twisted love story, maybe even storybook worthy. But to me, this was a true living nightmare. Growing up with fighting parents is one thing. What I grew up with is on a whole new level. I was very afraid of relationships and developed a bad habit of not trusting people when I was young. I would constantly see my mom and dad sabotage each other and how they would have other partners while still pining for each other. To this day, I don't know why they had even divorced. Anyway, 8 years later, they finally decided that enough was enough and got back together. For some odd reason, they also suddenly remembered that they have a daughter together. Cue their overexcitement in including me in all their ridiculous plans. They take me out on their romantic dates and talk about selling the house and buying a bigger place for all of us. They also started to discuss having a brand new wedding and tried to get me excited for it. They started celebrating their old anniversaries as well and tried to make me excited for it. I think they finally had enough of my detached behavior when I told them that I didn't want them to celebrate my birthday. I don't know why they suddenly wanted to celebrate my birthday. I didn't even know that they had remembered my birthday because I hadn't even gotten a wish in the last 6 years. Mom did know that I had turned 18 because I had talked of moving out, which caused her to have a mental breakdown. My dad didn't even know I was 20 until he randomly asked about school, and I had to tell him I graduated 2 years ago. This is my life, guys. I don't know why my parents thought I would just go along with their happy family setup after being neglected for years. I tried to explain it to them. We had to sit down together and spend hours going over this stuff. My parents even dragged me to therapy because they thought it was unnatural for me to be unhappy. Therapy was one big blow up because my parents didn't like how the therapist sided with me. Everything's a mess right now. My parents are hounding me to be happy around them and connect with them more. My mom wants me to be the bridesmaid to her second wedding and has been blowing up the entire house because I said no. Dad is just trying to give me a lecture about how I'm hurting my mother, and this is wrong. I feel like I'm sinking deeper into depression every single day. I was feeling better when I went to the therapist, but my parents cancelled my appointments. I don't have enough money to pay my bills and afford therapy. I can't do all that well in school, so I had to make do with a minimum wage job. I don't have complaints about it because I can manage on my own, but this trouble at home is really messing with my brain. I feel unhappy all the time. I don't know what to do. How do I convince my parents to leave me alone? I don't care what they do with their lives. I'm happy for them that they have finally found each other. I just don't want to pretend like we are a happy family. They can start over for all I care. I just wish they would leave me alone like they did all these years. Edit. I see a lot of common questions popping up. I think you guys won't be able to properly help me if I don't address the questions and doubts you have. The most common question I get here is, why am I still living with my parents? Well, I don't want to. After I had turned 18, I approached my mother and talked about leaving home. I had some money saved up and a friend of mine was willing to get a small apartment with me. I didn't have much, but I was confident that having 2 jobs would make me enough money to support myself. Well, like I said in the post, my mom had a major meltdown. We spent 3 days arguing. She called me selfish and heartless and told me that I was abandoning her just like Dad had abandoned her. She kept emotionally blackmailing me and stopped eating completely. She said that since nobody cared about her, she may as well just stop living. I tried to convince her to eat, but she just won't. 3 days later, she ended up in the hospital, and my plans to leave ended up out of the window. I wasn't strong enough to leave after seeing that my mother landed in the hospital because of me. Call it a sense of duty or part of being a doormat. I stayed. My mom may have neglected me, but for some reason she was terribly afraid of being alone. I don't understand why she did it, so don't ask me more. I told you what happened. About therapy, you had questions asking why my parents took me out of it. Well, they now think therapists are scammers. Why? Because 2 separate therapists didn't support what they were asking from me. My parents refuse to see that they are the reason I'm so detached. Some of you are accusing me of being unhappy for them. Honestly, I think they deserve each other. They are right. They are absolutely soulmates because they have the same kind of crazy. Maybe if I were as crazy and toxic as they are, I would have taken things too lightly. Sadly, I had to deal with a lot of trauma due to their toxic behavior. I don't think you should use your child to get back at your partner and then expect the child to be happy about it. I'm glad my parents found each other, but I have no interest in sharing their happiness. I would rather be left alone like I always have been. Update 1. Having 2 toxic and emotionally unavailable parents can be a big curse. I always felt isolated. neglected and forgotten about. If I hadn't posted here, I would have never understood that I deserve to be happy. I never got any affection from either of my parents. It always hurts to see my friends having normal parents and being so happy because of them. Two of my friends have divorced parents with spouses. None of them behaves this way. Most of the time I felt like I couldn't relate to them because none of them could comprehend what it's like to grow up with toxic parents. I know they try to understand, but they just can't because their life isn't like mine. After posting here, a lot of people reached out to me in the DMs and told me about their own experiences with their toxic parents. It really helped, guys. Made me feel like I could finally relate to someone who's been in similar situations. I have become conditioned to just accept whatever my parents want because saying no would result in big trouble. As I grew up, I slowly started to say no and just deal with the consequences. Still, I have been able to understand that I haven't fully learned to stand up for myself. There have been some people who called me a doormat, among other things, and told me that I should have just left and let my parents fend for themselves. You keep forgetting that I was barely legal when the moving out incident happened. I am mentally broken and not strong enough to do whatever I want. Guilt overtook my emotions and stopped me from doing what should have been good for me. I could say that my mom started to treat me better once I promised to stay back, but I would be lying. Nothing had changed. In fact, for the first month, my mom would often make me do stuff I didn't like by emotionally blackmailing me. She would blame me for putting her in the hospital and tell me that I owed her for causing her so much stress. My dad had been mostly absent and, to be very fair, didn't recruit me in his schemes as much as Mom did. They are toxic in different ways, but I would say that Dad is slightly better in the sense that he was a little less manipulative towards me. All in all, I have come to realize that none of them really loves me like a parent should. I just know it now. The only reason they are hell-bent on including me in their happy bubble is because my mom knows she can't have more kids to start over. They have been to the doctor shortly after getting back together. The doctor told my mother that she had perimenopause, and so having a child is simply not possible. Sorry if it's too much information for you guys. I really think that I should add these details to make you understand why I've been so resistant to their attempts to reconcile. Actually, I can't even say that they want to reconcile. They're not even willing to accept that our relationship is broken. It's just bizarre. They started to channel all their energy into me. As soon as they got the news that they couldn't have more children, they suddenly remembered that they do have an offspring together. So they didn't have to stress about having a kid now. We have discussed a lot of things in therapy. My mom and dad did their level best to make the therapist understand their perspective on why it's important for me to be a happy participant. But the therapist clearly told them they need to give me space and let me come around. When the therapist tried to address the neglect and manipulation, Mom and Dad shut down and immediately ended the session. After 2 sessions, they simply stopped going because it wasn't helping their cause at all. They continued to pressure me to be happier and more involved in their lives. I don't want to, of course. After reading the comments, I have realized this is my chance to move out. I would have done it a long time ago, but couldn't because of you know what. But now, Mom isn't alone anymore, so I have the perfect window of opportunity. I will try and make arrangements to move out as soon as possible because I don't think I'll survive this pressure for long. I guess I need this wake-up call to do what's right for me. I know for sure that there will be some drama, but I don't know if things will get bad. I'll try to move out and update you guys once I do. I know that a lot of you have only well wishes for me, so I will try to keep you informed. Update 2. I wish I had a positive update for you guys. I wish I could tell you that I have moved out and cut ties with my toxic parents. I couldn't do it. I really wanted to. I had a whole plan in place a few weeks before. I had been trying to move my things out to a friend's place. I have slowly taken some of my stuff out, hoping that my parents won't notice it. I planned to slowly move out and then tell my parents that I would like some space and go low contact with them. I was trying hard to avoid a big blow up from them. I really didn't want to make my situation worse by declaring my exit. Call me a coward or whatever, but I was terrified that they would try and stop me. I was scared that Mom would try the same manipulative tactics as before, and this time my dad would blame me too. I wanted to avoid that in every way possible. I was trying not to be a doormat, but I failed, guys. My mom and dad figured things out after the first week. They waited for me to come home from work and then they absolutely tore into me. My mom was the one screaming and crying. My dad just looked disappointed and kept telling me that I can't believe I would be so cruel and hurt them like that. I tried to defend myself. I knew that lying wouldn't help anymore, so I straightened my spine, like you guys said, and told them that I was leaving no matter what they said. After a long argument, Mom revealed something shocking to me. She said that she had hidden all my personal documents, my social security card, my birth certificate, my passport, and everything. I had no idea that she had taken them out of my locker. I was a fool not to remove them the first chance I got. I didn't have anyone to guide me and made a big mistake. That mistake has cost me dearly. I need my documents. Mom knows that. She is now holding them hostage. She's refusing to hand them over to me. She effectively made sure that I could never leave them. Mom is also using it as blackmail to make me cooperate with her. 3 days ago, I rebelled, so she threatened to burn my documents. I had to go on my knees and beg as she held a cigarette lighter next to my high school diploma. I don't know what to do anymore. I think I'm stuck for good. I shouldn't have thought that it would be easy to get out. I shouldn't have dared to think that I would be able to escape my parents. I have already tried everything I could. I'm just numb now. I feel like my head will explode from this mess. My mom follows me to and from work just to make sure I don't run away. She's also not letting any of my friends come to see me. I'm completely stuck here. I guess I have to thank God that she didn't take my phone away. Dad has become silent and doesn't even say anything to me anymore. Mom's yelling at me all the time and I'm just tired, guys. I'm so sorry to disappoint you all. I'm weak and I guess I deserve this. Update 3. I can't believe how much you guys love and care for me. You don't even know me, yet you have given me so much good advice and so many good wishes. This is very rare for me, you know. A lot of you said that you wished you were my parents because you would have treated me way better. It means a lot to me. I have been feeling so down the last few days that I wrote the last update as a desperate attempt to connect with someone. I was really hoping that I would be able to find a way out of this mess. You guys gave me some solid advice and it has helped me already. Most of you guys told me to contact the police because they would be able to help me out. I thought about it and I wanted to call them, but I am really scared of going to them alone. I don't know why, but I'm very scared of calling the cops. I do know that if I want to get out of this situation, I will have to call the cops eventually. It's just that I don't want to go to them alone. I can take my friends, but like I said, I'm being followed to and from work. I can't leave the house without being followed. My mom recently left her job after Dad moved back home so that she has plenty of time on her hands. I can call them, but they're not allowed to see me at home. I'm a little confused about how to approach the situation, but I have done some thinking and I'm considering calling my maternal grandpa and asking him for help. To be honest, no one in the extended family knows the true extent of what was going on in my life. They all live far apart. We didn't meet up enough times to really talk about things. Grandpa does check in on me regularly, but I didn't want to burden him with what's going on. Mom keeps telling me that I should always behave in front of Grandpa because my bad behavior can easily land him in the hospital since he is old. I knew that he was not that old, but I was still scared. Now I think he may be my only chance to get out of this. I'm considering calling my grandpa tomorrow and telling him what's going on. You already know that I don't have any responsible adult to guide me, so I have to ask you guys here, is this the right thing to do? I'm not sure how Grandpa will react, but I think he will be on my side. I've been keeping so much within me that I think it would be better for me to talk to someone and seek help, since I can't even do that for myself. Please tell me that this is the right thing to do. Update 4. Hi guys, you were all so worried about me that I quickly had to drop by and make this update. Nothing has been resolved yet. But I have some good news. I'm now staying with my grandpa at a hotel. I was going to call my grandpa and seek help after you guys told me that I should do it immediately. But turns out I didn't have to lift a finger. My friends had already called my grandpa and spoken to him on my behalf. They were so worried about me that they contacted him without telling me. One of my friends' grandpa is friends with mine, so he was able to get hold of my grandpa's phone number. None of my friends told me about this plan because they thought I would stop them from calling him. I don't blame them because the old me would have done just that. I didn't tell my friends I was planning to call him anyway. They were so panicked about me being in home jail that they did what they thought would be best. I will be eternally grateful to them. I know I have good friends, and this is the ultimate proof of it. Anyway, my grandpa called me and just asked me if it was true. I confirmed, and he told me not to worry about things. Within the next 30 minutes, the cops were there in my house, and Grandpa came with them. I was able to get out safely and take my documents with me as well. I couldn't take all of my things because I was in a hurry, but at least I have the necessities. Mom tried to argue with Grandpa when he took me away, but one look from him quickly shut her up. My father didn't say anything. It looks like he had gone mute after discovering my attempt to leave home. It's better this way, though, because I have nothing to say to him either. Grandpa and I are in a hotel now. He is contemplating taking me to his house, but I'm a little skeptical about it. I want to stay here because my friends are all here. I really need their support right now anyway. So that is something I have to decide in a few days. I'm also still afraid that Mom will try some funny business. Maybe it's all in my head, but I can't help be a little scared. But for now, I'm safe with my grandpa, and I thought you guys should know this. And that's it for now. I will be sure to check in here and tell you when I can decide on what to do. Until then, feel free to leave some advice in the comments. Update 5. Hello guys, I'm back and I'm safe. I'm sorry that I left you guys hanging for so long. Things have been crazy for me these past few months, so I needed some space to recover and focus on myself. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the time to update, and honestly speaking, I didn't really have the energy to do it. Like I said, things have been a huge mess since my last update. Shortly after the last update here, things really escalated with my mom. I will tell you all about it. Don't worry though, because this update is a positive one. Let me start from the beginning. I think you guys remember how I was afraid that my mom would do something to get back at me. Last time, she chose self-harm as a way to manipulate me. That worked really well. This time, however, she didn't torture herself. What she did do was hide near my work and wait for me to get off my shift. I don't know when she arrived or how long she waited. What I know is that she ambushed me when I was walking to my car. She looked really mad and immediately grabbed my arm with a lot of force. Then she started to yell at me about how I gave her a lot of trouble and made things worse for her again. She said a lot of things. She said that I had turned her father and the love of her life against her. Yes, you read that right. My mom told me that Dad was not happy with how my mom had handled things. Apparently, they had been having many fights ever since they caught me trying to leave home. I was probably too out of my mind to notice it. Probably. Anyway, Dad wanted to allow me to leave and give me space like the therapist had been telling them. But Mom was convinced that my staying was the only thing they needed. After my grandfather showed up with the cops and took me away, Dad and Mom had some really nasty fights. Dad kept blaming her for escalating things and blowing it out of proportion. He has apparently been thinking about breaking up with her again. That's why she had come to me. She demanded that I move back home and fix the mess I had apparently created. She was sure that if I went back home, everyone would forgive her and admit that her method was the best. And when I refused to agree to come home, she started getting really erratic to the point where I started to be scared for my safety. At one point, Mom started to drag me to her car, which she easily could because she is way heavier and stronger than me. I panicked and started to scream, hoping someone would hear me. They did hear me and came to my rescue, but my mom was so pissed off at my screaming that she decided to punch me in the face and then strangle me to make me quiet. She couldn't really strangle me for long because people from my work came to the parking lot and separated her from me. They also held her captive until the cops came and took her away. I remember getting into an ambulance and going to the hospital, but to be honest, most of it was hazy because that punch knocked the lights out of me. Anyway, I got medical attention and my grandpa came to get me. My dad was also there, but I didn't want to see him. A lot of things happened after that as well, and I really don't want to recount all of it. I pressed charges against my mother, and my work voluntarily submitted security footage that showed what my mom did to me. The case is ongoing, but it looks like she will get a prison sentence since it isn't her first violent attack on someone. She has been sent for a psychiatric evaluation as well. I don't know the details of it, and I told everyone not to tell me. It's my grandpa and my aunt who are taking care of all that. I was sent to therapy on my grandpa's dime, which is why I no longer sound like a hopeless and scared teenager. I already have a restraining order against Mom, which is nice. Oh, Dad and Mom broke up again. Dad had sent me a long message telling me that he was sorry about what happened. He claimed he started to really think about stuff and realized that what the family therapist said in those sessions had been right. He was secretly seeing a therapist behind his mom's back and slowly understood that his behavior was messed up. He says he doesn't support what his mom did and broke up with her because he couldn't believe how far she had fallen. He wished to have a relationship with me if I allowed it, but I don't think that will ever happen. I'm staying with my grandpa right now, who's planning to shift from his city to mine, just so I don't have to leave my friends and go away. I now have access to the right resources to get better, and I'm confident I will get even better in some more time. This is going to be my last update because I don't want to keep reliving these things. Thank you so much for all your support because I couldn't have done this without you guys. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.